Hi, welcome back to, or welcome to Soul Clinic if you're new. Um, I'm Chang, and uh, today I almost did not record or show up for another video because I honestly didn't really feel like it and I didn't know what to talk about. But um, I suddenly felt like there was something that could be said. And although my previous intention for the channel was to do daily videos, but as I said in um, the video couple earlier this week, when I resumed the daily flow, I don't want this to be an obligation that binds me down or pressure. I don't want to be operating out of pressure. And I've been feeling like this new mode of operation, doing anything just because I feel like it or not. Don't do because I don't feel like it. It's such a new way of operating in on Earth in this modern human society that I have a hard time finding an anchor for you, really. Not much for me. I could because I could be just talking about or in a way that in whatever way I want to talk about or I feel like. But what I have to say and why I'm showing up in these videos for these videos only because I know the message is important and I'm being told it's important. I'm encouraged to just show up, continue to show up and speak up, talk, speak, and share. Um, it may be difficult for any of you to relate to where I am if there hasn't been build up so that you can at least have an idea of where I'm coming from. And that's been my challenge all my life, where I stayed silent for as almost like a default mode. Because in my experience, whenever I shared my mind or what I had to say, it didn't really, it wasn't really received well. And I learned how to tell the potential receptivity of the audience. And in most cases, because where I was so alien to where the average person is, I learned to just keep my mouth shut and stay silent for so long. And while I'm doing this primarily for myself, because I've since learned doing anything for another wouldn't really, it doesn't really work for me. And I know the seeming paradox of doing things for yourself and it helping others is the truth at this point in my life that I want to embody. Okay. And because I talk like this, no wonder how or why most people may not be able to catch up with me. Even my wife, who gets me the best in the world, I even sometimes have a hard time finding the right words and the right way of communicating what's in my head, or what not just in my head, what's in me. And so there is no other way for me to get out what's in me other than just showing up and talking. As I'm being told that's how I'm meant to do this thing, get my message out. And the seeming disparity between the value of my message and the popularity of it has been getting to me somewhat, but I don't really care because what's keeping me up in doing these things, doing these videos, is because I'm doing this for my own enjoyment, just because I feel like it. And what prompted me to show up for this video, although it's pretty late, as you can tell, compared to how my daily routine would have the time for shooting these videos. I was busy looking through my old files in my external hard drives and stuff and organizing because there was a that was long overdue, and things got messy in my digital files and assets because I didn't really have enough time and uh, well, I wasn't ready because this is what I wanted to say, and realized that I had to I had something to say for today's video. And although I didn't really go into it intentionally, I was doing something else, and one thing led to another, one thing led to another, and then I opened up the Pandora's box, and oh boy, my past just caught up on me because of the all the files. Um, some of them very old, some of them very old, and some of them pretty recent. But I ended up just deleting a huge amount of just files, and it reminded me of how I used to operate. Was so not like doing things just because I feel like it. I was always going for on a result, for a future result. And I made a lot of sacrifices because the bulk of what I just deleted, like hundreds of gigabytes of data, was courses and videos and stuff that I thought I needed to study. A lot of them were marketing courses. Uh, And although it may not, although I may not look like it, I was once in the marketing world and the hustle world, entrepreneurial world. I still have an entrepreneurial business, but I really never was a hustle guy. But looking back, I and even looking at the old marketing courses that I ended up deleting, I realized how much I compromised my core of a non-hustle guy and try to learn how to become a successful business person so that I can get financial freedom and the lifestyle that comes with it. Doing anything I want, anytime I want, anywhere I want. And what's very ironic, and it's very interesting how this message is unfolding because, yeah, if I structured this through my left brain, it wouldn't have gone this way. But I think if you're still here, still listening to me, you're actually in for quite a ride because I'm liking this twist and turns. I just realized I am living my dream, or I have reached the goal of doing anything I want, any time I want, or anywhere I want, or with any whom I want at this stage. And that was ironically, that is, has nothing to do with those marketing courses that promised me, or uh, the marketing courses through which I thought was going to, or I was going to get those results through learning and applying those um, how to make money courses. And what's the biggest irony, the biggest paradox, is that I have no financial means that comes close to what I imagined several years ago when I was avidly studying and downloading those and gathering, accumulating those marketing courses that I would need to have in order to enjoy the level of actual freedom that I am living now on a daily basis. So and it's not like the irony is that it's not like I earned it. You know, everything almost fell in my lap in a way that defied any logic. That defies any explanation other than God's grace is at work here. And the reason why I say I almost did not earn it, and actually it is in line with my core philosophy of we can live by grace because we are children of God. We are children of the universe, whichever vocabulary that suits you. Yet, in practice, how it actually pans out, it's so weird, so out of the ordinary that I can't really go into details. I can, but it will just sound weird for most people. Okay? So, on paper, based on the criteria of the society, my life is a mess. It's a complete mess. Yet, internally, how I'm feeling, I've never felt fulfilled, happy, peaceful, healthy, clear, receptive, tolerant, wise, and I can name like tens more adjectives to describe the quality I'm feeling on a daily basis. So when how my life is unfolding defies all logic, even to my own self, meaning even to me who actually has a very highly developed logical mind. It becomes difficult for on my side how to deciding how to share this, not just in order to have some kind of my in order to have my message have some kind of an effect on you, because that's also working for a future result, not doing something just for the sake of it. I really want you to get it. That was my wife asking what I would prefer for dinner, which is another dream come true. I haven't left this house or the apartment that I'm living in all day, and it's perfect for where I am, and it's actually the cheapest place that I've ever lived, and that is one of the irony that I talked about earlier. So going through my old files, I just realized I have been giving away so much power in the form of not just the money that I spent in buying those online courses, but also my attention in going through their courses, and also my my emotional investment in them as people. Because I've been in this marketing game for more than a decade now. I started in at about 2010, so it's been 15 years. And I thought I've gotten somewhat wiser in what to actually study over the course of those years. And yes, I have grown wiser, but at the same time, now of the matter is not even who to trust, whom to trust. The shift that has happened that led me to delete all of those marketing courses that once was very valuable, or I once was very valuable according to my perception, so that I paid a lot of money to get access to that information. Now it just became a reminder of how I used to value myself much less than what they had. And it was almost like they held a secret that I wasn't privy to. And now it's clear that was only me not knowing how to access my own secrets. Because you hold the key within to open any and all doors that you want to open up. But that involves going against all of what anyone's doing out there in the world. And that is why I fell over and over again for those marketing gurus or teachers or course creators, because I got into the the mental trap of believing when they seemed to live a life that I want to live, or just a part of their a part of their life that I could perceive had some semblance to the kind of the life I wanted to live. Made me jump the gun and to the conclusion where, one, I thought they the life they were leading was because of their secrets that they're selling in that course, that secret information they're selling in the course. And number two, I believe that they could help and teach me to do the same. And now I know that's the falsity, the trap that I fell into over and over again. Because how they're living how they seem to live their dream life, because at this point I don't even believe that their lives that are that the image of their lives that they want to project so that they could sell their courses uh, is actually as glorious as they want to make it look like. I don't think that's true. Anyways, why do I sound so like? Why do I speak so grandiose? I don't know. Like I, I, oh, it's been one of my conundrums. I can't seem to speak simply using simple words. Uh, Yet it's fine. It's me. I'm doing me. So I use big words not to brag, but it's, that's I want to be precise in my communication. Anyways, the I thought they could teach me their secrets that led to them living their dream life. That was the basis of the error that I identified. And before I jumped into the marketing world, a more independent study, if you will, because that was all self-study, was after I got out of the traditional academic world that I thrive is not the right word. Um, I excelled, but I didn't like living in that, playing that game of traditional academics. So after college and after serving in Korean military, which is mandatory for Korean citizens, which I am, I chose to chart my own course while almost all of my friends from the same school or from the same major, because I majored in chemistry, natural science. A lot of them went to the traditional academic route, got master's degree and got the doctoral degrees, and many of them are now either doctors or professors in natural science in universities. I don't regret any of that, not having done that. Yet, another irony is that I am now pursuing going back to medical school at this age, where uh, some of some of my close friends, they have now been teaching at universities for like 7 years now, even more than that. But it's all irrelevant. My age, and I wouldn't have any like ego issues going back to school, because if it's a soul calling of me, then I know it's um, what I'm meant to do, despite all the reasons my mind could come up with to argue that it's not really uh, something I want to do long term. But anyways, the reason why we don't really want to listen to our ego or make it our decision making entity is that it can't reason beyond the very social norm that we want to transcend. At least for me, I realize what I've been doing all my life was transcend the social norm of what it means to succeed. And so, therefore, first, I left the traditional academic world, although I excelled at it. Well, the basic reason, the most fundamental reason was I didn't feel like continuing. So I was still sticking to my current philosophy, which I want to stick to all the time, even more. Uh, but in other words, if I couldn't continue, I thought I felt like I would kill myself if I were to continue on that path. There was no way humanly possible for me to sustain uh, without totally checking out, totally numbing out of the life experience. I didn't want to be a zombie with a doctoral degree. Well, I'm not saying all people with doctoral degree are zombies. Not at all. I was, I'm saying I, this person would have become like a zombie if I pursued that route at that time. I would die inside. So it wasn't for me back then, the path, because I wanted to chart my own path outside of what the traditional setting would prescribe that what success is like. So, like I said, to use my classmates as examples, they became doctors or professors, which you could imagine um, very well suits what the society prescribes those who are good at academics would become. It may suit them, I don't know, but not it wasn't it was not for me. And I then tried to chart my own course by getting into the marketing world, where it seemed like they were people who were charting their own courses as well. And in a sense, yes. But after a decade and a half, now I'm realizing it's also uh, a subculture, a culture of people who are not very different, who think who don't think very different from people who are in traditional academics, because we're always after the next. When I say we, those marketing or online business people, always on the lookout for the next secret, the next right information that will set set them apart from the competition and help them succeed. So it's a little bit, well, I guess it's a little bit different because traditional academics is all about, up until the undergraduate level, anyways, it's all about getting the established information, the widely available information, or commonly available information to the same, to the students of the same major, who can master the predefined curriculum the best, or the fastest, or the most efficient, which was what I was good at. But once you get into the master's and the graduate level, especially even more for the natural science that I majored in, you have to be an independent researcher to further your own academic development. And because I wasn't really interested in studying natural science at that point, I had to jump out. And I was still very young, even in my 20s when I started studying marketing. And that was almost like a counter movement to all the pressure I had to perform well academically as an Asian. I wanted to have what some people will call FU money. And after 15 years, now I realize I am actually living, not just I can, but I am living a life as if I have the FU money when I don't. And the money was never the issue. The issue was, as it turns out, following the flow of life and being able to trust. And it's not even like the wave, the flow that I was subject to the last 5 years. It was not like a gentle stream. It was a tsunami. So it's not like I could have done anything else than to surrender and go with the flow, because it overpowered me. I didn't have any power to resist or like try to veer the course of it. Well, I still tried, and that hurt me. That cost me actual money, because I ended up like spending a lot of money that I could not afford in more courses, in higher ticket courses, as they would say. And that was out of desperation. And I, looking back my old files, I realized how much money I spent on courses that I didn't need, I didn't even look at, that didn't feel right. As I like to say, the only thing that clouds your vision is greed. And I guess I was also conditioned by human greed, which there is actually no way to escape from. I mean, as long as we are born into this society, we are bound to be conditioned by it one way or another. So for me, I chased financial freedom in the under the premise that it will give me real actual freedom. And of course, money always helps, and having money is better than not having money if all other conditions stay the same. But here's the catch: it never stays the same. Money is never an independent variable. It's always tied to other factors, and that's the catch. And I went even further to conclude personally that having money or earning money, or having a lot of money in the old system, in the old order that we are now transitioning out of, is almost always tied to dysfunction. Well, I think to I may elaborate in this in another video, because it's a whole other subject. So, well, I guess it all started even during college with the 4-hour work week, which I think I read in 2007. The book itself, I think, came out in 2006. But that's the book that taught me and many, 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 like millions of people all over the world, because it became a phenomenon, right? How to put a money figure, a dollar figure, on your dream. And it gave me an impression of concretizing my dream even further, and like getting further to my dream life. But it never helped. It never really come to pass. And I'm pretty damn good in following instructions, and that's why I like got straight A's up to my high school. I wasn't like at the top of my class in college, but there were reasons I chose not to pursue cum laude or anything like that. Because I got bored at doing that. And English was really tough back then for me. Academic, like university English. Um, the thing is actually, in a way, is dehumanizing, and it actually gets you further away from even longer detour. It creates even longer detour to put a dollar figure next to your dreams. Again, I won't go into why, and maybe in later videos I will have some time to talk about it. Because it's never, money is never the limiting factor. Money will show up. I talk from experience. Or money won't, may not even be required. But putting a dollar figure on everything is how this society ended up, and that is why this is why we are almost at the end of the modern civilization as we know it. That is exactly why and how it became unsustainable. It's fundamentally reductionist, meaning it wants to reduce everything to just one dimension or one factor of money or dollars or whatever other currency that your country uses. And that was my mistake. That was the mistake that I made, or I was forced into, because there was no other way, no way to get around it. I was young. I didn't know better. I didn't have any life experience in this modern human society. I may have had lots of past life experiences, but not this one. So I don't want to be another one of those gurus that I just described to you. I'm not here to make money, although this later on can make me a lot of money. I'm not counting on it. I'm not betting on it. The primary reason I'm doing this, as I said, is because I feel like it. And if this makes some money later on, nice. Good for me. Good for others. If this becomes a means of exchange. And I do want to provide a lot of value for people, but I learned I have a tendency to give too much away, to almost to the detriment of my own well-being. And that's one of the things that I had to learn, adjusting the higher principles that my soul carry to how the modern society is set up physically. So bringing down heaven on earth is what I'm doing, and what people are trying to do without their own knowing, in their own way. And that has to have at its basis energetics, frequency, and vibration. And the reason why all my past efforts, including investing lots and lots of money into learning how to create financial freedom, it didn't work out because the energetic basis, foundation was shaky. So, my message for you, what I told my wife this morning and several times before, whatever you're looking for, you won't get it by looking outward. The only way is to go inward. And the challenge is before you train yourself to a certain level of looking inside and being able to retrieve answers, it so often feels like nothing is in there. You just look into a deep void and the abyss, which is actually part of the trick. But you feel like there's nothing there, so you go right back to your usual routine, which is looking outside for solutions. And because you feel so needy, you get matched with people who are needy to get your money. Uh-oh. That's the trap that I fell into over and over and over again. I was a huge sucker. But I couldn't blame them because they were only showing up in my life as a match to my own state, as I shared several videos earlier. And my own state was I was ready to hand my money to whomever will give me the freedom in the form of a secret information. And that had to continue for a decade and a half until it became unsustainable and my financial situation got worse and worse. Uh, not because I was just consuming that information. I once had $1 million business, which evaporated almost overnight. So I got pretty good at marketing, almost to my own detriment, because the level of promise that I could make went so far ahead of my ability to, not my ability, but my company's ability to match that, to deliver that. And that is the secret of being good at marketing, too. Is marketing is all about making promises. But creating a good business is not just marketing, but also being able to deliver on that promise, to fulfill that promise. So marketing and fulfillment, those have to go together. And I think this is enough for today. I think this has been the longest video for this channel so far. And I will have other chances to talk more about, uh, build upon what I talked about today. Because I could go on and on and on and on. And maybe I need to do that. I don't know. Uh, but it's not, it doesn't always happen. I don't talk like all day, every day. But I could talk for hours when it hits, when the inspiration hits. And I am at, at the mercy of that inspiration hitting me. Now, some people, even like some very well-known like history artists, they may say, you have to be disciplined even when the inspiration doesn't hit. Like one of the quotes that I heard several years ago was, I think it was by Somerset Maugham. He said, he writes only when inspiration hits, and the inspiration hits every day at 9 a.m. Well, he was alluding to his habit of sitting down or some kind of a writing routine or regimen, showing up at his desk at every day at 9 a.m. I used to admire that kind of like discipline, and I am pretty disciplined in many things. But I realized I can't make my life and myself subservient to my creation. I can't make any sacrifices in the name of like serving the creation because like I can't give what I don't have. Like I have to when I like creation is a form of giving or a service, and I have to be full in order to overflow and give out of that overflow. That's the most sustaining way of creating and making sure that my creations are actually valuable. Uh, thank you for bearing with me, but I really enjoyed and I'm pretty satisfied with what came out through me today. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.